Hello, everybody. It's Infinity Simone, and today I'm here for a little story time. I know that when I first started this channel, I mentioned that the next video was going to be about what I was going through in that season. But then God kind of redirected things, and it wasn't time for me to share yet. But guess what? I feel like now will be the best time to kind of share where I've been and what has been happening, where am I right now with my journey with Christ, my journey, my relationship with God. I will give like a brief summary of what those seasons were and what it is leading to right now. But as far as the depth of it, I may again break that up and share some details later. But I will start with a little job history. And so I kind of mentioned before, probably the very first video, that I've been called to entrepreneurship. And I've always known that any job I ever go to, it was temporal. I was not ever planning to stay there, to retire. I wasn't looking forward to a 401k or like anything that had to do with me being there for multiple years. I never looked forward to any of that. I wasn't quite sure what it was I was going to be doing, but I knew that wasn't for me. So recently, I would say last year, for the last almost 2 years, I was working at a children's home. And my experience there at first, I loved it. Because first, when I applied, I wanted a job that would allow me downtime. I worked a lot of jobs doing warehouse work. And I needed something that wasn't going to drain me, that wasn't, going to have me tired to where I can't really build and work on the things that I feel like God was leading me to do in those seasons. And so the children's home allowed me that. I had that time where I worked overnights. And pretty much while not really children, but teenagers, they were asleep, I was able to work on stuff. I was able to do the groundwork. I was able to build and do other things. And so I was given that time. I loved the job at first, until, different issues began to uprise or began to occur. And so the first issue I began to have was that somebody punctured a hole in my gas tank. I just got a new car. And just that fast, somebody punctured a hole in the gas tank. I got to the gas station, filled my tank, and then gas was just pouring on the ground at the gas station. And so that happened, and nobody pretty much cared. They didn't really do anything. They didn't try to reimburse me anything. They was, oh, we'll put more cameras out. But that was the first thing at the children's home. From there, I think the next thing was that I was there alone one night. There wasn't nobody there. Kids could have been out for like a weekend pass or something. And pretty much there was a break-in. Somebody broke into the house twice in one night. And I was in the office looking at the cameras, and first I heard something and I felt movement underneath my feet. I'm watching the cameras because, of course, I can't see what's happening underneath my feet. But so I see somebody walking down the hallway on the camera. So when I stood on my feet, you could kind of hear the computer chair move. And so the person took off running. But anyway, I called the police. They was able to see that the basement window had been open. The basement door was even open, but the person probably ran out the basement door of the house, of the children's home. And so that happened. But then again, after the police left and all that stuff happened, I didn't necessarily leave after that. I stayed and I just made sure the alarm was on because I know the person was gone, and, the alarm would tell me if something, wasn't right. And so the alarm sounded again hours later saying side door or something like that. And at that point I was fed up. I left. I left and I went home. I wasn't going to keep going through that. That was enough for one night. And even with that, the job took it lightly. They didn't do nothing about it. They really didn't. Sorry I had to go through that. That's probably the most that happened. I'm sorry you went through that. I'm sorry you went through that. That's pretty much it. And the person in the recording on the actual camera, and I said the cameras, I saw the person on the camera. They had a hoodie on, so I couldn't really tell if it was a male or female. But that this would have been a person that was not afraid of the noise from me getting up from the computer chair. What if they had a weapon? What if they didn't really care? And so at this point, I'm like, okay, I was getting frustrated with the job because my life is in jeopardy. Things like, thank God, nothing happened, but I know it could have. And so I then continued to work there. This time, another occurrence, I was sitting in the office. And it was almost like my whole shift, I worked 10-hour shifts. And I'd say probably 2 hours before my shift ended. A bat. A bat. I've never seen a bat in my life. A bat came down on me in the office. I screamed, I flipped out, and like, I think it went out the room or whatever. I didn't even know what it was. I thought it was a bird. I didn't know what it was. So I went out into the foyer. That's when I saw the bat laying there trying to get up. I don't know if I heard it or what when I flipped out, but a bat. I've never seen a bat in my life, but it came down on me in this office. And so I told them that. I left. I went home. And again, they didn't take it seriously. They did not care. They sent me back into that same house. I don't know if it was like the end of my work week or not, but whenever I came back to work, they sent me back into that same house. No, you guys need to do an inspection and make sure that there's no more bats, because usually I heard that it's not just one, usually if you see a bat. And so my supervisor then said she saw a bat. A bat happened to fall from somewhere when she was inside the office. So there was 2 bats in the house. And after that, they still sent me back into there, me and another coworker. We're hearing stuff in the attic, in the ceiling. We can hear something above our head. But they're telling us, oh, we checked it out. Nothing's up there. They just want us to still work this house. They did not care about our safety. At that point, I'm like, I'm leaving. I'm not going to keep putting my life at risk because it's clear that they don't care. I could have been bitten. I don't really know. I flipped out. I don't know what happened. And when I told them, I asked them, so what happened with the bat when somebody came and took it out the house? They don't know. The people, the higher ups in the office didn't even know that there was a bat. And then they don't know who took the bat out the house and what they did with it. So they should have been notified to animal control or something so that they can test the bat, see if it had rabies. There was no record of it. And so there was no way for me to really know if that bat had rabies or not. But again, I don't want to have the story long and drawn out. I left that job. I was not going to continue to put my life at risk. I went back to Amazon because that was a job that I been working for past, 6 years on and off. And I knew it was easy to get into. And so I went back there. And at this time, my living situation became a little shaky. I was actually sleeping in my car for about a month. And even trying to work Amazon, I was very tired. I was already tired because one is the overnight shift, and then I used to drive my son to school all the way to Alton, Illinois after getting off. So like every day was like a gamble. Every day I'm risking my life behind the wheel. I'm falling asleep behind the wheel. It was very dangerous. I was tired, and it was just a very, not good situation. Eventually, I did find an apartment, and I thought this was going to be like a fresh start. I thought, everything was going to be good now, but no, of course, it didn't happen that way. So I'm working Amazon still. We find this apartment, and so it probably was not even a full month of being there. I'm letting them know, I'm like, well, the furnace is going out. It's making this loud noise. I need you guys to come check it out. They came and checked it out. It's, oh, well, heat is still coming from the vents. It's fine. It's working fine. I'm like, no. But okay. It wasn't quite cold yet, so I didn't really get to like notice if it was actually functioning the way it should. Not long after that, it was getting cold, and my bedroom would get to about 20 degrees. I didn't have a thermostat at the time, so I couldn't really like take a picture of it and show them. But they kept saying, "Oh, well, heat is coming out the vents. It's not enough heat unless my body wash will not be froze." So me and my son, long story short, we were freezing the whole winter. This winter that just passed. And actually, it was this winter when I just created this YouTube channel. It was in that cold apartment that I created this YouTube channel. And I may even upload some videos that I recorded while in the place because it was actually in these moments. But anyway, I'll talk about that later. But yes, so we were freezing. We were using the oven, have the oven open majority of the day. We had heaters. Also, we had a whole fireplace in the apartment. They did not want us using the fireplace because they don't service them. The fireplace was the only thing keeping the house, the living room, not even the house. It kept the living room warm enough for us to kind of be in there. And so we used that fireplace. And it's still, my electric bills were so high. My electric bills was $300, $400, $500, $800 in electric bills. And from there, it was just very stressful. It was so stressful. I wasn't getting good sleep because I was so cold. I couldn't sleep good. Then I'm tired at work because I'm not getting the sleep that I should be getting. And it was just it was terrible. I'm sleepwalking at work. I'm running into stuff because I'm so tired. And it was just hard. It was very hard to function. Um, and every day became so grievous. I used to take my lunch. We usually get like another 15-minute break. And I usually use that break toward the end of my shift. And I would pray. God, I need you to help me. I need you to help me get through the shift. I need you to help me. I am not making it. I'm ready to walk out of this building. I am not making it, Lord. I need you to help me. I'm pleading, asking God for help. And so, like I said, I used to do that toward the end of the shift. I was now taking these breaks right at the beginning of the shift. I'm just walking in. I'm like, Lord, I need you to help me. I'm like, God, what are you showing me? Are you telling me I need to do I need to quit this job? Are you leading me to quit this job? Because I was ready. I will quit right now. I was so grieved. I could not. It was so hard getting through the next 5 minutes of the shift. It was so difficult, so hard. And I know I had so much within me that I could be pursuing and doing that. I wouldn't have to be living paycheck to paycheck. I wouldn't have to be suffering the way that I was suffering. But I didn't have the time. I didn't have the energy to put into whatever things God had already put in me to do. I already laid down. I had already started the foundation, the groundwork while I was at the children's home. But again, all that stuff went down. Now I'm in a place where I don't have any energy when I get off work. I still have to parent. I still have my son. I still had other things that I had to do. I had to get sleep. I worked overnight, so I had to get sleep. I had to make sure my son got from school, take him to school, all those things, and cook. And just the many tasks I had to do. I didn't have energy to do YouTube I still made time for it. But I didn't have time to do the things that I really was passionate about doing. So yeah, I'm suffering in this apartment. It's freezing cold. My bedroom, 20 degrees. When I say I didn't even want to put on clothes, I didn't want to get in the shower because that room was so cold. My clothes were cold when I put them on. It was terrible. And the guy got these high electric bills that I can't pay. Like, yeah, you can get assistance. I got assistance for maybe one or two of the bills, but they weren't going to pay every month for these high bills. And so it was stressful to the point where now I don't even have money really for us to eat. We were eating peanut butter and jelly sandwiches every day. I may have been able to buy a carton of eggs. I may have been able to buy some oatmeal, stuff like that. But like here and there, we had some chicken, a bag of chicken that I could put in the oven and stuff like that. But like we didn't really have a lot to even eat. I would not, they wouldn't even allow me to get food stamps and all of those things. So there was really no assistance. I had to keep spending money on firewood because the fireplace is what kept the living room at least warm enough to be in. And so months and months passed. I'm calling them. I'm giving work orders. It's cold. It's freezing in here. We could bring you more plastic. That was the most they said they was willing to. We could bring you more plastic to insulate. I already had somebody insulate the sliding door and the window in the bedroom, but that did not do anything. And so they said we could bring you more plastic. So at that point, and again, I'm working. I don't have a lot of time to keep bothering them about how cold it is. I only have enough time to try to get some sleep and go back to work the next day. But anyway, and then when I was off, I believe the office wasn't even open. But anyway, from there, again, we were just very cold. My son didn't even want to be home. It was so cold, which I don't blame him. Um, I'm doing all I can. I'm getting paid, but it's going to a firewood. I'm trying to keep enough food in the house. I'm stressed because I'm barely hanging on to this job. Every day I go to work, it's a struggle to get past 5 minutes of each shift, and I work 10 hours. And then on top of that, it was peak season, so it went up to 11 hours. I was not making it. And so, I'm like, God, I feel like you're leading me to quit this job, but I need you to confirm it to me. And so my scan rates were not pretty much what they wanted them to be. It was nothing I could do about it. I was trying, but it was nothing. I'm like, I got injured at work. I think I had injured my wrist, my hand on my wrist. And actually, I was happy because now I get to sit down. But even with me sitting down, that was not good. Like, it probably felt good for the moment. Maybe the first week of me, because I had to go through like physical therapy and all of that. But I was able to build. I was able to strategize what I was going to talk about for is the YouTube channel. I got to work on stuff because I had to sit down for the shift. But it got to a point where, again, my sleep, because I'm not getting quality sleep at home, I'm falling asleep during this, I forgot what they call it, where I'm not really physically working, but I'm sitting and still getting paid. But you just got to stay awake. I was not able to stay awake. I'm trying all these energy drinks. I tried every energy drink there is. Red Bull, C4, anyone, like I've tried them all. Even the ones that used to work were not working. I'm like, God, I need you to help me. I need you to help me because I'm not going to make it, Lord. I don't know what you're trying to show me, what you're trying to teach me. But if you don't help me, I'm not going to make it. So even while I was still on light duty, that's what I meant to say, I had two ambassadors come to me letting me know, like, when you come back, like, your scan rate has to be this high or we're going to have to consider letting you go. And at this point, I'm like, I don't even care at this point. But so in that moment, I did return back to work and I did what I could. I did my best. And of course, my scan rates were still not where they wanted them to be. And so they, I guess, monitored me for like 2 weeks and they was like, we're going to have to let you go. They fired me because of my scan rates. So at this point, I'm trying to pull all my gifts, all my talents out the bag. I'm an artist. I know how to draw. I know how to do hair. I do sister locks. I was trying to do everything I knew I could do to try to make money. But at this point, I didn't even care. I was still freezing in this apartment. By this time, okay, let me backtrack a little bit. January, the furnace actually did go out. I told them back in November that it was going out because it was making a noise. They did not replace it until it went out. So it went out in January. February, I got fired from my job. March, here it is March. It's still cold. It's not 20 degrees because we already went past most of the most freezing temperatures and months in the season. March, my bedroom, I have temperature, like I can show, if I'm probably don't have to do all that, I can show that it was 40 degrees in my apartment, which is still too cold. And according to state standards, I shouldn't have to live like that. So I sent them a letter and I let them know, like, you're either going to let me out this lease, you're going to give me back my deposit. I'm like, I'm breaking this lease. I'm not going to continue to, I pay rent, full rent, the whole, however many months I've been here, freezing in this apartment. And pretty much, like I said, I had already lost my job in February. So this is March. And in March, my apartment was still 40 degrees. And so, after sending that letter, they're like, oh, well, let's check it out. No, we didn't know you guys were still freezing. So they came in, come to find out, the pipes or whatever in the ceiling, they were never connected to the furnace. They was never connected to the heating system, which means there were never really any heat coming to the vents because it was never connected. It took all the way until March for them to find that issue. I told them I want out the lease, and it was nothing that they could say to me to change my mind. And thank God, because we suffered that winter, I was able to get out of my lease with a zero balance. I didn't have to pay for April. I didn't have to pay for, usually whatever you used or whatever in March, you pay for it the beginning of April. I didn't have to pay anything in April. I was able to get out of the apartment with a zero balance. But I was back, I had to go back and live with, a relative or my family, my mom. So, went through that. I was without a job. And really, this is where I really was at the time that I made the video. I was without a job. I didn't know what things were going to be. But I knew that I knew I was leaving that job because I was too grieved every time I went in there. I knew that either God was leading me to quit that job or I didn't have to. The job quit me. And so I was without a job. I was on unemployment. I never was on unemployment before. But it helped me to pay what I needed to pay for, mostly my car. My car is about $600. I was able to pay that in 2 weeks. And so everything else I was able to afford, of course, my phone and other bills, small bills. Since I don't have the major bills anymore, I don't have the rent, the utilities, and all of that. They have to pay for storage. But anyway, this was the greatest time of my life. I was not worried about nothing. I had time to actually slow down. And I heard from God daily. I heard from him every day, every day, every day. He filled me with much revelation. He gave me revelation about being in survival mode. He gave me strategy. He gave me the things that I started building when I was at the children's home. He began to give me strategy and vision for those things now in this season, in this time of my life. And so, not right away. I didn't go right back to building and working. I rested. And I never knew what it meant to rest in Christ, to rest in God. All I knew was to be on this hamster wheel, always running, always moving, always trying to make ends meet and trying to make things happen. I learned to rest. And that was the best season of my life. And that's my goal now. Like, I want to be able to rest without feeling guilty. I don't want to have to always grind, grind, grind. I want to be able to rest and redeem my time back, because again, most of our time is given to these jobs, and you don't have the time and energy to pour into your children. You don't have the time and energy to even take care of yourself as you should, because you're always on the move. You're on a time limit. From the time your feet touch the ground, you're trying to hurry up and do this and do that so you can be here by this time and do. It's too much. And I much rather seek first the kingdom of God and all his righteousness, that he will add things to me, that my gifts make room for me, that I can serve other people. And with me doing all that I'm doing for the kingdom of God, God will supply my every need according to his riches and glory. And so now that ties into where I am right now. I went through my months. Ooh, those were the best months. I went through those months of rest. I went through my months of rest and revelation. He gave me so much revelation in this time. He was feeding me daily. I was able to seek him in ways I was not able to seek him before. I struggled to pray. I struggled to be in his word every day. I wanted to. I tried. I was not consistent. I got before him every day. And again, that's when I noticed it was never me. Even with my efforts, I was not able. And I realized what it meant to walk with him to now living in him. I began to understand him and know him in ways I never had, even though I've been in church for the past 8 7 8 years. I knew these words. I knew his word. I walked with him. But now I'm learning to walk in him. And now the word, it seemed new to me. It's like I never read it before, and I understand it in a way that I never understood it before. And I'm free. I am so free. I'm not in bondage. Not only in bondage, of course, to sin. I'm not in bondage to the fact I was so fearful. I did not live a life of freedom, the freedom that Christ really died to give me. I lived my life terrified of hell, terrified of not being good enough, terrified that when he comes, he was not going to accept me. But it was never me to begin with. He stripped so much off of me. And again, I know this is only brief, but I'm going to share so much more of what he has shown me, what he has done in me, through me, for me in this time and this season. But again, I just wanted to give y'all a summary of what's been happening. And so, as of right now, I already had a brand that I was preparing to launch, but it wasn't time. Now, I believe is the time. And the brand name has changed. So my clothing brand that I am preparing to launch this fall is called Light Him. And it's poetic for like him. So the slogan is from the him that we reflect to the him that we wear. And so we are Christ representatives here on earth. We're supposed to be light bearers. We're supposed to reflect him no matter where we are and what we're doing. And so it's a reminder that light lives within us. And that's what the brand represents, just it's a reminder when we wear like him, it's a reminder of who we are to be reflecting, where we are. And again, that we are a light. And let our beauty come from within. Not putting on makeup and clothes, trying to make the outside look beautiful, but taking inventory of our hearts and what's within us. Keeping the right heart posture. And so that is the clothing brand that is being launched this fall. And I'm so ready. I'm so excited. And also Infinite Expressions is just a wider umbrella for the YouTube, the books I'm writing, the art, children book. I'm doing a number of things. And so all of that will fall under the umbrella Infinite Expressions. But I'm starting with Light Him, and I don't really have the funds to fund this. But I have the faith I've never had in my life before. And with me having this faith now, because I've learned to walk in God. If you follow the page, I mentioned, or I didn't mention, but I showed in a video this new office space that I have. I have multiple rooms, and I have started a job. Okay, I kind of skipped some things. So after a few months, I found a job in security, which also allows me downtime. It is so peaceful. And I get paid more than what I was getting paid at the children's home. And I am able to build. I am able to run my business. I am able to do it all from work. And I'm so thankful. When I say I've never loved any job that I've had, I really like this job. And while being at this job, I work in a building where it's a bunch of office suites. It's a bunch of, wealth strategies or financial assistants, or not assistants, but advisors. There's law firms. There's a bunch of different businesses in this building. But also as I do tours, or not tours, but as I do, they call them rounds, building rounds, where I kind of check the building, make sure everything is as it's supposed to be. I get to see these vacant offices, and I'm like, these are nice. I would love to have an office like this. And the thing is, so when I applied for this job, I did get hired before another post, and no telling where I would have been if I went to that post. Somehow that hiring situation. It fell through. It didn't work out. So I got hired again, or considered again for now this position, which I believe God orchestrated that. Because if I've not started at this position, I would have never saw those offices. I would have never thought that I could have an office of my own. And so, like I said, that pretty much led to me looking for an office of my own. And it's pretty much my sanctuary where I can build, where I can strategize, where I can create, and where I can do everything. I have the space to do everything that I'm working toward. And so, the idea came from the workplace that I work in. I saw all these offices, and I only dreamed of having the smaller, like the offices I seen, they were nice in size, but I didn't think of nothing bigger than that. And where I work, I'm sure they are pricey. I've went and visited many offices. Some were like 1,300 just for a little room. So I was looking for offices and I found one, and it's 1,000 square feet. I have 4 rooms in here. I have a huge sitting area. It's bigger than all the offices I've ever seen. And I'm only paying, I'm not gonna tell you how much I pay, but like it is less. It is lesser than any of those smaller spaces that I viewed. And I knew it instantly. I'm like, this is it. And I prayed because I was like, God, I would hope I find an office close to my mom's house where if I could take my son to school, it'll be all convenient because pretty much when I go to work, my son is with my mom and with his papa. And they're like 4 minutes away from each other. And so I would hope that the office would be closer to them where I don't have to travel much. But anyway, the office is close to my mom's and my dad's house. I don't have to drive far to get to the office or, drive, whatever has to do with my son. It's still in proximity. It's still close. And I moved in. And even before moving in, there was opposition or there was challenges. There were things that looked like I was not going to get this space. But I know the vision that God gave me. And I believed it. I believed God for it. They tried to say I needed a cosigner because I knew I could make the payments. But, they want to be sure. And for a moment, it didn't seem like I had a cosigner. Even the person that co-signed, they weren't. And I understand. I would not be quick to co-sign for nobody either. But it really seemed like I was not going to get into this space. Everything around me, everything looking by sight, it did not look like I was going to get this space. But I knew what God showed me. And I knew, again, this is where my faith had to really come into play. This is where my faith really was being activated. I knew God did not give me this vision for no reason. He did not. I knew it was my space. So it was like, even while I'm being told these things, I still had joy on the inside. I still was happy because I know the vision. I saw it already. And so, long story short, it all worked out. It took prayer. It took some frustration because I'm hearing what you're saying, but I know what God showed me. So even though they're telling me, well, we can't really, we can't lease it to you unless, and even though, the unless part, it wasn't really working out at the time, it still all worked out in my favor. And now this space is not only mine, this is God's space. So whatever he want to use it for, whatever he want to do in and through me in this space, this is where I'm going to do it. And so now I'm birthing like him out of here. Anything that I'm doing, I have the space to do it. And this is also a sanctuary for me and my son. If we need time to just, even mother and son, just have time for us and just whatever it is, this is the space to do it. And I'm so thankful. I'm so thankful. But anyway, the main point is I went through all of that. Now having a job that I love, having a job where I can build and even run my businesses while at work. I now have a space to do, because even if I did get another apartment, I was not going to have the space to do everything that I'm doing right now. So while I am living with my mom, I thought it would be better to pay at least here. So at least I have the space to build something that's going to allow us to be able to live comfortably and not have to, struggle the way I just struggled in this apartment. That's where I'm at right now. And so Like Him will be launching this fall. I don't know. That's the part I missed. Like Him will be launching this fall. And that brings back, like, there's a point that I forgot to mention. So with me not really knowing how I was going to fund this launch, not knowing how I was going to fund everything that I'm doing, faith again. I've tried years ago. I do portraits. I paint portraits. I draw portraits. I've tried to get it off the ground. I couldn't get people to pay or want to pay. They love the work. They asked me to do it, but the moment I named a price, which really the price was not really high, considering all the time I put into it. Really, for the portraits that I do, and I do collages, so it's not just one face, it's 2 or 3 or 4 faces in one collage. And the time that it takes to do these pieces, I could very well charge $600 if I'm being paid for the amount that I get paid at these jobs. Let's say I get paid $18 an hour. For the amount of time it takes for me to finish this portrait, that would be like $600. I wasn't charging, I was really undercharging myself, but they weren't even willing to pay that amount. But anyway, long story short, I've tried to get that off the ground, especially even with what I was going through in that apartment and trying to make ends meet, trying to make extra money. It did not work. But guess what? Now I work in a space where there's law firms. I work in a space where there's people that have money and actually see my skills because of a co-worker, which I truly appreciate her. I show her my work, and she's been showing everybody in the workplace because she's there during the day. I'm there at night, and so people don't ever meet me because I'm at the building by myself. But she's been showing everybody my artwork. Have you seen her artwork? She's so talented, and I thank her so much. I'm not going to mention her name. She may want to stay private, but she's been showing everybody. And when I say it's people wanting to buy my work, it's people willing to pay for my services. God has been providing through that. My art has been the way I've been able to furnish this office. This art has been the reason why I'm now able to put money aside to be able to buy my product in bulk. God has been providing. Hallelujah. He's been providing. He's been providing. He's been providing. He's opening doors that I used once to try to open myself. I don't have to. The door is opening for me. I don't have to chase it. And God has been opening doors. He has been providing in ways that I never would have imagined. My faith is being increased so much. Even the fact that there was a morning where I very could have went to the room and went to sleep, but something told me don't go to sleep just yet. So to keep from going to sleep, I just chose to go sit in the front yard. I had my little blanket in the grass, and I was just sitting out there. And a lady, she happened to ride past my house. And now years ago, I used to sometimes sit and do art outside because the weather would be nice. I figure it's a good day to just be outside and work on some paintings or something like that. This was years ago. I've not done that in a very long time. But this lady that rode past on this day, she rode past, she was like, excuse me, she was like, you may not remember me, but I recall you working on some art outside some years ago. Years ago. It probably was 3, 4, 5 years. It was a while ago. But she remembered. She remembered that I was outside working on art, and she stopped and she was saying I remember you were out here working on some art, and it was nice. And I want a portrait done of me and my husband. We've been married for X amount of years. And just like that, it was just like another door opening that I did not have to chase. And I'm just so thankful because I'm like, God, I know this has nothing to do with me. That whole thing alone was just very mind-blowing. That from years ago, she remembered me from years ago. She remembered a piece of work that I was doing years ago. That don't even amount to the kind of work I'm producing now. She remembered from years ago that I do that stuff, and she happened to just be riding past. If I didn't sit outside, if I went in my bedroom instead of waiting to go to sleep and I wasn't outside, she would have rolled past. I never would have met her. She would have never been able to reach out to me to ask me to do a portrait for her and her husband. I'm so excited for what he's doing. And again, I don't want to make this video very long, but that is where I am today. And again, you have so much to look forward to for what I'm building. My book is almost close to being finished. Give it some time, but my book will be finished soon. This clothing brand will be launching this fall. I also, again, Infinite Expressions, I'm going to allow my brand to do what it's doing first. But Infinite Expressions, that's what my book will fall under. That's what this YouTube channel will be under if monetized. And again, if I get that's up to God if he wants this channel to be monetized. I just appreciate that I'm able to deliver to you all things that are helpful to you, things that are going to inspire you, whatever it does, whatever it's meant to do, whatever God wants it to do. I'm not here for the money. I'm here to help. I'm here to serve. I'm not living for me. And so I'm just thankful for the opportunity. I'm thankful that God chose me to be a vessel. And that's it. And that's all I'm here to be, all I'm here to do. And whatever fruit, whatever things come from that, with that, I appreciate it. I appreciate all the support. I appreciate every like, every comment, every view of these videos that I'm posting. And I pray that it's reaching somebody. I pray that it's changing somebody's life. I pray that it's inspiring somebody. I'm praying. I know that this story is not in vain. Everything I've gone through is not just for me. It's for you. It's for whoever it reaches. But I just thank you for your time. I know it's at 41 minutes, and I just thank you all for watching. I thank you for, your participation. Just watching and supporting, even in that. And if you feel my videos are helpful, please share it. Please comment. Please, hit subscribe, as they say. I mean, if you feel the need to subscribe, you want to subscribe, do that. But again, just so people can come across the video, it does help, But I'm not to force anybody's hand. It will do what God wanted to do. But if you feel nudged to share and subscribe and comment, please do. I would love to hear how these videos are helpful to you. I would love to hear, whatever, even if it's not helpful. I would like to know that if there's, things that I could do better or something, or things that you want to hear, share them. I'm open. And so again, I just thank you for your time. And I hope this video is inspiring somebody. I just want you guys to know what you can expect from me. So again, I have many things that I'm working on. But as of right now, the main focus is the brand. And I have many things coming after that as well. So I'll share the rest of the things in a later video at a later time when it's time. And so again, I thank you all, and I will see y'all soon.